Hello students. So far we have studied total utility analysis and some of the tools related to ordinary utility analysis. And we criticized, and one of the criticism against total utility analysis was that it could not separate income effect and substitution effect. While analyzing the ordinary utility analysis, we saw how the income effect can be found out by using the income consumption curve, and how the price effect can be found out using the price consumption curve. Now we will be discussing how the income effect and price effect can be differentiated from a single change in the price of a single commodity. We know that when price of a commodity changes, consumption changes. When price increases, consumption falls, and when price falls, consumption rises. Take for example the case of a fall in price. When price falls, consumption of a commodity increases. This is a very simple relationship, but behind this relationship there are two factors at work. When price falls, the commodity becomes more attractive because the price is lower now, and therefore the consumer consumes more. At the same time, when price falls, the income of the consumer, which we also call real income of the consumer, has risen, and this increase in the real income of the consumer also induces him to consume more. Let's see how a fall in the price of a commodity leads to an increase in the real income of the consumer. Suppose there are two commodities, X and Y. There are two commodities, X and Y. Price of X is 10 rupees, price of Y is 5 rupees, and income of the consumer is 100 rupees. Now, suppose he is consuming 5 units of X, 5 into price of X, plus 10 units of Y, 10 into price of Y, will be equal to 5 into 10, 50 plus 10 into 5, 50, that will be equal to 100. Now suppose that price of X falls to rupees 5. Now it is 10 and price of X falls to rupees 5. Then what happens? Price of X falls to rupees 5. Here becomes 5 into price of X is now related to 10. Now it has fallen to price of X has fallen to 5 plus 10 into price of Y, which is still at 5. What do we get? We get 5 into 525 plus 10 into 550, that is 75. So in fact, for the consumer, in the earlier situation, he had to spend 100 rupees to get 5 units of X and 10 units of Y. After the fall in the price of X, the consumer used to spend only 75 rupees in order to consume 5 units of X and 10 units of Y. This is equivalent to an increase of real increase of 25 rupees is income. By consuming the same commodities, same units, same commodities, he is having a balance of rupees 25 with him. This is called an increase in the real income due to fall in the price of X. So when price of X falls, his real income increases. So he allows this real income maybe between these two commodities or on only one commodity, and therefore this increase in real income can also prompt him to consume more. Not only the fall in the price of X, but also the increase in the real income by 25 rupees can also prompt him to consume more. How many rupees has increased? How his real income has increased by 25 rupees, because earlier he used to spend 100 rupees for consuming these commodities, and now he has to spend only 75 rupees. So in fact it means that there is an excess 25 rupees within. This is an increase in his real income. This is called as increase in real income. So what does it happen? What happens to the consumption of X and Y? Price of X was 10 rupees earlier, now it has become 5 rupees. So relatively it has become cheaper, and therefore because price of X is lower, consumer will consume more in order to equate the marginal utility of X from the marginal utility of the money income. Therefore, he may consume more of X, maybe 6, maybe 7 units. At the same time, what has happened? His income has also increased. We know that when income of the consumer increases, he tends to consume more. So, what happens? He tends to consume more of X or more of Y or more of both. Again, consumption of X increases. So, we have seen that there are two effects of a fall in the price of a commodity. One is the increase in consumption due to the commodity becoming cheaper. This is called substitution effect because the consumer substitutes the cheaper commodity for the dearer one. Secondly, his real income increases, and this is called the income effect of the consumer. Due to these two effects, the consumption of the commodity increases. Substitution effect plus income effect. So, any change in the price of the commodity has two attendant effects. One is the substitution effect, second one is the income effect, and consumption of the commodity concerned can fall or rise according to both these effects. Now we are discussing how the order liquidity analysis can be used to show this income effect and substitution effect separately. For this purpose, we have two methods of analysis. One has been substituted by Hicks, and second one has been provided by Hicks, and second one has been developed by Slutsky. The Hicksian method of substituting income effect and price effect into income effect and substitution effect is called compensating variation, and the Slutskian method of decomposing price effect into income effect and substitution effect is called the cost difference method. Okay, so we will be discussing how the price effect can be decomposed into income effect and substitution effect. The effect on the commodity of a change in price is called price effect. The sum total of the effect on the commodity of a change in price is called price effect. This price effect can be decomposed into substitution effect and income effect as we have seen here. So, we will be looking diagrammatically or geometrically how this income effect and substitution effect can be decomposed according to the Hicksian method. We are using our familiar indifference curve method. Familiar indifference curve method for this purpose. We have budget line or price line, we call it BL. We have commodity X on the x-axis and commodity Y on the y-axis. We have budget line BL, which shows the different quantities of the commodities that the consumer can buy by spending or is available. And given the preference of the consumer, we have an indifference curve. IC1, the consumer is at equilibrium at point E, where he is consuming x1 of x and y1 of y. Now, we are assuming a fall in the price of x, and we know that a fall in the price of x leads to a rightward rotation of the budget line because commodity x is measured on the horizontal axis. So, fall in the price of x leads to a rightward rotation of the indifference curve, and the new equilibrium of the consumer given his preferences will be given by point E1. So the consumer moves from E to E1. Consumer moves from point E to E1. This is called the price effect. This is called the price effect. And total consumption of both commodities are seen to increase here. But we have seen that this price effect consists of two separate effects. One is the income effect and another one is the substitution effect. Our job here is to decompose or differentiate or find different values of this income effect and substitution effect. So how do we do that? And Hicks has suggested a method called the compensating variation, in which he says that the consumer can be taken to the old level of satisfaction by reducing his income. So when his income is reduced and he is on the old level of satisfaction, then it means that he is enjoying the old level of satisfaction, and at the same time the price ratio has not changed. And here we are doing such a technique by which we are drawing a new budget line. We are drawing a new budget line which is parallel to the old budget line. Old budget line. We have seen that our initial budget line is BL, price of X fell and the budget line rotated to BL1. Now, in order to give the consumer the same level of satisfaction as he was before, as he was enjoying before the fall in the price, we are reducing his real income by a certain proportion, and when we are reducing his real income, his budget line will shift downwards to B2L2. And the condition for redrawing the budget line or reducing his real income is that he should be enjoying the same level of satisfaction as he enjoyed before the fall in price, and also the price ratios should remain the same. Okay, here we have seen that the consumer, if he wants, can be on the earlier level of satisfaction given by the indifference curve IC1. So his level of satisfaction does not change even if his income is reduced. That means that the increased income has been negated. The increased income due to fall in the price of X has been negated. Now, what has happened to the price ratio? We have seen that when price of X fell, the budget line rotated from BL to BL1, and the slope of the budget line fell, which means that price of X fell. And so X is relatively more attractive, and this is the substitution effect part of the theory. And so when we are redrawing the budget line by reducing its real income, it should be drawn in such a way that the price ratio does not get affected, or the slope of the budget line, shifted budget line B2L2, should be equal to the slope of the budget line BL1. Okay, so the two budget lines should have equal slopes, identical slope, which means that the price ratio has not changed. X has become relatively more attractive. Now we can compare these two budget lines, BL and BL2. BL and BL2. Here, slope of BL2 is lower than that of BL, which means that X is relatively more cheaper and it is more attractive. That means the substitution effect has been retained and the income effect has been taken out or cancelled or negated. The income effect has been negated. Why do we say that the income effect has been negated? We say it because we have reduced the income of the consumer by such an amount which makes the consumer be on the same indifference curve before the fall in the price. So nothing has happened to the substitution effect, but his income effect has been negated, and therefore the consumer now moves on to E2 from E1. Okay, so initially there is a movement from E to E1, then from E1 to E2. We can see that the consumer moves from E to E1 when price of the commodity fell and when the income effect was taken out from the price effect. When the income effect was taken out from the price effect by redrawing the budget line parallelly downwards and tangential to the first indifference curve, the consumer moves to E2. That is movement from E1 to E2. So this movement from E1 to E2 is called the income effect. Why it is called the income effect? Because consumer moves from E1 to E2 when his income has taken out. So when his income takes out, income effect is negated or cancelled or nullified. So what remains is the substitution effect. So the movement from E to E2 is the substitution effect. Movement from E1 to E2 is the income effect, and movement from E to E1 is the price effect. So here E to E1 is a sum of E1 to E2 plus E to E2. Okay, so this is E to E2. So we have seen that price effect can be decomposed into income effect and substitution effect. Okay, so this is the price effect, movement from E to E1. When price falls, then we cancel out the increased real income by redrawing the budget line in such a way that it is tangential to the first indifference curve and also parallel to the second budget line, so that the consumer remains at the early level of satisfaction and price ratios remains unchanged. And here we are negating the income effect and retaining the substitution effect. So when we negated the income effect, consumer moved from E1 to E2, and therefore this is called the income effect, and what remains, that is the movement from E to E2, is the substitution effect. As a result of substitution effect, X2, X3. So movement from E to E1 means that movement from X1 to X3. Movement from X1 to X3 is the price effect. Because when price of commodity X fell, consumption of X increased from OX1 to OX3. Now when we negated the income effect, consumption of X fell from X3 to X2. X3 to X2. X3 to X2, this is the income effect. This is the income effect. And what remains is the substitution effect, and what remains is movement from X1 to X2. X1 to X2 is the substitution effect. This is how Hicks decomposes the price effect into income and substitution effect. So in this class we have studied how price effect can be decomposed into income effect and substitution effect. First, what is price effect? Price effect is the sum total of the effect of a change in the price on the quantity consumed of a commodity. This price effect consists of both income effect and substitution effect. Income effect is due to the increase in the real income of the consumer as the price of one commodity falls. Substitution effect happens because the commodity whose price has fallen becomes relatively more attractive than the other commodity, and we are using this compensating variation to decompose price effect into income effect and substitution effect. This method has been developed by Hicks. Here we are using the ordinary utility theory to decompose price effect into substitution effect. When price of commodity X falls, budget line shift rotates from BL to BL1, consumer's equilibrium moves from E to E1. This is the effect when price falls. So this is called price effect, movement from E to E1 or increasing consumption from X1 to X3. Then in order to compensate for the increase in real income, we are reducing real income in such a way that it remains on the same level of satisfaction as before and retains the price ratio. For this, we are shifting the budget line parallel downwards to B to L2, and this budget line should be tangent to the area indifference curve, and it should also be parallel to the rotated indifference, rotated budget line. We have seen that the equilibrium of the consumer is E1, E2. Now movement from E1 to E2 happened when the income effect was negated, and therefore E1 to E2 or X3 X2 is the income effect. So from price effect we have reduced the income effect. When income effect has been reduced from price effect, what remains is the substitution effect. Here what remains is movement from E1 to E2 or X1 X2, which is the substitution effect. This method is called the compensating variation. Thank you.